just cause exemptions. He is at a conference for city business, so he will be participating in closed session remotely, again, using a just cause exception. Thank you.
Thank you for that, Mr. City Attorney. Madam Interim City Clerk, could you please call roll?
Yes, sir. Councilmember Argumedo?
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Garcia?
Here.
Mayor Lainez?
Here.
Let the record reflect Councilmember Rebollo is on the closed session room.
Okay, great. We do have a quorum. We'll now move on to public comment. Do we have any public comment?
None.
Okay, great. Okay, at this time, we will recess to closed session. Madam Interim City Clerk, if you could please recess us.
Yes. With all council members present, the council will recess into closed session on 4 items as listed on the regular and special meeting agendas.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. We will now recess to closed session.
Certainly, Mr. Mayor, and for the record, there was a concurrent special meeting that has a closed session agenda and the regular agenda, the closed session agenda. So the council met in closed session with, let the record reflect that Councilwoman Rebollo met in closed session. And again, that Councilmember Altamirano would use his just cause exemption, and he participated remotely. So with all 5 members of the City Council being present, the City Council met in closed session. The first item on the special concurrent joint meeting, item A, B, C, and D, City staff made a presentation, City Council provided direction, no final reportable action was taken. With respect to the regular agenda, item number 1, 2 items were discussed. City staff made presentations. City Council provided direction. No final reportable action was taken. With respect to items 2 and 3, City staff made presentations. City Council provided direction. No final reportable action was taken. And that concludes the report out of closed session. Thank you.
Okay, thank you for your report, Mr. City Attorney. I now call to order the July 14, 2026 concurrent joint meetings of the City Council of the City of Commerce, Joint Powers, Financing Authority, and the governing body of the successor agency to the Commerce Community Development Commission. Madam Interim City Clerk, would you please call roll?
Yes, sir. Councilmember Argumedo?
Here.
Councilmember Rebollo? Here. Mayor Pro Tem Garcia? Here. Mayor Lainez?
Here.
Mayor, let the record reflect, Councilmember Altamirano is absent.
Okay, thank you for that, and we do have a quorum. At this time, I invite the crowd to please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance, which will be led by Parks and Recreation Director Adolfo Marquez, followed by the invocation led by Councilmember Rebollo.
Place your right hand over your heart. Ready, begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please bow your heads. Good and loving God, we thank you, Lord, for the gift of today. We thank you, Lord, for the opportunities that you've given us to lead this community. We ask, Lord, for guidance. We ask for wisdom to make the best decisions for this community. Lord, we ask that you be with the brokenhearted, and that during this trying time, especially for this community, that you bless the Cornejo family. Lord, we know that you, in your word, you state that you are close to the brokenhearted. Lord, may they find solace in knowing that Miss Sandy Cornejo is now resting in your loving arms. And we ask that you continue to remind them, Lord, of how much they are loved, how much she meant to this community. And Lord, we just ask for that peace at this time. May you comfort the other members of this community that are currently mourning. And Lord, may you bring peace to those that are troubled. May you bring health to those that are in sickness. And Lord, may you just bless and continue to bless this community in the only way that you know how. We ask this in your mighty name. Amen.
Okay, thank you for that, everyone. We'll now go ahead and move on to appearances and presentations. And the first item is a commendation, a Lifetime Achievement Award for Mrs. Sandy Cornejo. To me, Ms. Cornejo was my neighbor for many years, but I only got the privilege to really get to know her a few years ago. And I regret that because she is such a cheerful and easygoing, an elegant woman, right? Loved this community, and this community loved her back. She was a true matriarch of the City of Commerce, and you could tell that she touched a lot of people's lives here in the community. And so she'll be dearly missed. My condolences to the Cornejo family. But I do want to pass the microphone over to my colleague, Councilman Hugo Argumedo, because I know she served for you for many, many years. And you had a great relationship with Mrs. Cornejo. And so, if you could.
Thank you, Mayor. I appreciate the opportunity. Thank you also for putting this item on the agenda. She was very deserving of it. I was truly blessed to have known Miss Sandy and worked with her, and I truly admired her counsel, her advice, on various issues, many different things that we talked about. But above all, she was very proud of her entire family, and that was first and foremost in her mind always. She also was obviously very, very dedicated to St. Marcelina's, to religion, and that was something that was really very important to her. So I'm very just proud to have had that opportunity to meet her. I also served with your father on the city council, and he was a truly bright individual, very well spoken, and I wish I had a better relationship, but I think it was towards the end of his term on the city council. But we did get along, and I know that after he no longer served, I would go over and visit, and there was times we had some discussion on different things, which I enjoyed. I always, in the meetings, I always really looked up to his insight, what he thought, what he had done here in the city, and he did a lot. And I was really, it was an honor to have served with you and to have developed a great relationship with you and the rest of the family, with Ms. Sandy Cornejo and the rest of the family, and it was a very true blessing for me. So thank you, and thank you again, Mayor, for putting this item on the agenda. I thought it was very important. I believe you have a commendation. Yeah. Mayor, I'll go ahead and let you go ahead and read it. Yeah. Can we just get the, is it over there?
Thank you, Councilman. And so I have the honor of reading a commendation for Sandra G. Cornejo. This is a Lifetime Achievement Recognition Award presented in loving memory of her from the City Council of the City of Commerce. In recognition of a lifetime of exceptional service, dedicated leadership, and lasting commitment to the City of Commerce. For decades, Sandra Cornejo, affectionately known as Sandy, dedicated herself to strengthening the City of Commerce. As chairperson and longtime member of the Parks and Recreation Commission, and through her service on both the Library and Senior Citizens Commission, she devoted countless hours to improving the quality of life for residents. Through her leadership with the Rosewood Park Women's Club, the Pageant Steering Committee, Rosewood Park School PTA, and St. Marcelina's Church, she helped foster the sense of belonging that generations of Commerce families cherish. Sandy believed that serving others was among life's greatest callings. As a Girl Scout leader, catechism teacher, mentor, and community volunteer, she generously gave her time to youth programs, parks and recreation, education, and community initiatives, always leading with humility, kindness, and a vision to improve commerce. Whether mentoring children, supporting families, or welcoming new generations into the city, she made every person feel valued and every act of service meaningful. Alongside her husband, former council member Robert J. Cornejo, Sandy proudly served as a former First Lady of Commerce and helped shape the city's history through its incorporation and years of civic involvement. Her lifelong dedication to public service gained her recognition as one of the 50th Assembly District's 2011 Women of Distinction, reflecting the respect and admiration she earned throughout the community. While Sandy gave so much of herself to the city, her greatest joy was always her family. A devoted wife, a loving mother of four, proud grandmother of 4, and beloved great-grandmother of 4. She lived each day with generosity, faith.
She had 8 great-grandchildren.
8. She lived each day with generosity, faith, and unconditional love. Above all, Sandy will be remembered for her grace and open heart. Her legacy lives on through the lives she touched, the friendships she nurtured, and the stronger, more connected community she helped build. Her generous spirit and everlasting love for the City of Commerce will continue to inspire future generations. The City of Commerce proudly honors Sandra G. Cornejo for a lifetime of remarkable service and celebrates a legacy that will forever remain woven in the heart and history of our city. Presented this 14th day of July 2026, signed by myself, the mayor, as well as all members of the Commerce City Council. Thank you.
Mayor, again, I just want to thank you for allowing us to put the item on the agenda. I think she was very, well, she deserved that. I think we should have done something like that years ago. But nevertheless, I talked about Mr. serving with him. And I know that it's something that she wanted to do in the past, to name something in his honor. And I think it would be fitting for us to name the senior center, the dining area, in their honor, the honor of Robert J. Cornejo and his family.
I wholeheartedly agree, right? The Cornejo family is a legacy here in the City of Commerce. Miss Sandy is a commerce icon. I didn't have the honor of knowing Robert, but I know the impact that they've made here in the community. And so, to me, I wholeheartedly, fully support the dedication of the dining room on the senior side. Thank you so much. And I would like to invite the Cornejo family to come up and take a picture so I can give you the commendation. But before I do that, Mr. Cornejo, you may have some comments.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, City Council. We really appreciate, on behalf of the Cornejo family, we appreciate the wonderful accolades that you have presented to my mom, Sandy Cornejo. We all remember, well, some of us remember, many of us in the audience, lots of friends and family here, when my parents moved into the City of Commerce. Well, it wasn't City of Commerce in 1957, but they had the opportunity to get together with quite a few people in the community, industrial leaders and others, and be part. They were very, very young at the time, but they got to be mentored by many people to help make the City of Commerce the City of Commerce. I recall the meetings that were held at Rosa Park School. I might have been that high, I'm not sure. And we had the community there, and they talk about free buses, they talk about incorporation, they talk about running your own parks, and they talked about casinos. And halfway through the meeting, people would just leave like, those people are crazy. What kind of ideas are those? But we see all those wonderful ideas today as a result of the work of all the council members, including yourselves, that go on and on over the years. And I know my mom will really appreciate all the honors that you are giving this evening. And on behalf of our family, I want to thank you very much for recognizing her and for also taking the opportunity to recognize her by naming part of the City of Commerce Senior Center on her behalf. Thank you so much, and we'll come up to accept that award. Thank you.
Okay, thank you again to the Cornejo family. And it's an honor to have the Senior Center Dining Room dedicated to Sandy and Robert Cornejo. Okay, now we'll go ahead and move on to the next item, which is a proclamation of Parks Make Life Better Month. And I believe we'll have a presentation by our Parks and Recreation Director, Adolfo Marquez.
Good evening, Honorable Mayor Lainez, Mayor Pro Tem, council members. We celebrate Parks Make Life Better, and Parks Make Life Better with people like Sandy Cornejo. And she is our chairperson of the Parks and Rec Commission, and we will be honoring her at our next commission meeting by placing a beautiful flower arrangement on her area. Sandy was a lot of things to so many of us. And if there's one thing that Sandy was, she was a lot of fun. So tonight's presentation, we celebrate Sandy, we honor her with this presentation. Our presentation this evening will be made by Jaylene Ramirez, one of our hardworking Yes workers, followed by Taven Gama, who's also one of our hardworking Yes workers.
Good evening, Mayor and City Council. My name is Jaylene. Parks and Recreation has been a big part of my life. I've had the opportunity to participate in Unplugged Performing Arts, serve on the Youth Advisory Committee, work as a Yes employee, and recently represent our community on the City of Commerce Cultural Excursion. Through these experiences, I've made lifelong friendships, developed leadership skills, and discovered new opportunities that have helped me grow. Parks and Recreation truly creates experiences that make life better for people of all ages. And since our community has been caught up in World Cup excitement this summer, you'll notice that this year's Parks Make Life Better video has a fun ring to it. I hope you enjoy.
Summer is here, and the game is on. As the world turns its eyes towards Los Angeles and the excitement of international competition,
here in the City of Commerce, we know something important.
Champions don't start in stadiums, they start in parks.
Every kick, every swim, every game begins with opportunity.
Our fields become training grounds. Our pools build confidence. Our gyms create teamwork.
And our recreation programs help young athletes discover not only sports, but themselves.
recreation is more than sports. It's seniors finding friendships, children discovering imagination.
Families creating memories, neighbors becoming community, and safe places where everyone belongs.
Behind every class, every event, every splash, every celebration
is a team committed to serving others. Because Parks Make Life Better isn't just a slogan, it's our promise.
As the world celebrates the game, the City of Commerce will continue doing what we do best.
Fueling the fun, helping people feel the game.
Good evening, Mayor and City Council. My name is Taven, and I'm proud to say that I grew up in the City of Commerce at Parks and Recreation Department. I started in the preschool program where I learned through play, made my first friends, and even learned my shapes and colors. As I got older, I played recreation baseball and basketball, and today I've come full circle as a YES employee through the city's Summer Youth Employment Program. July is Parks Make Life Better month. The month of the 4th of July celebration is just one of the many ways our department brings our community together. It is my pleasure to introduce a video highlighting this year's Independence Day celebration.
3, 2, 1!
Hi everyone, welcome to our 4th of July celebration. Wishing you a joyful and inspiring 4th of July. Hope it brings smiles and great vibes. Have a wonderful event. Woo!
Beautiful history here in the U.S. and in particular here in the City of Commerce with the rest of the community. Everybody's having a great time. It's already after the fireworks and they're still having a blast out there. It's just awesome to be here with the rest of our community, enjoying and celebrating with everybody else.
So my favorite thing is being able to spend time not just with my own family, but watching everybody spend time with their own family because family time is priceless. Watching the community enjoy this event, having a good time. As you can tell, everybody enjoys this event. So happy 250th birthday, America.
I remember as a kid, used to come out here, they had all the carnivals. And I'm just happy that we keep the tradition and we're here just to serve you guys, to continue to bring things like this. Fireworks last night were amazing. Today we have the laser show party, which was a big hit last year. So I'm excited about it. I have all the grandkids with us. We're gonna be dancing up there. So I hope you all have a great time. See you next year.
The city really wants to focus on giving our families an opportunity and an experience to enjoy and celebrate our country's independence. We are independent because of the hard work and the bravery and the courage of our service members, our veterans. Happy Independence Day, Commerce. Happy 250th America. And I hope everybody had a great time.
Thank you for those presentations, Director Marquez, Jaylene, and Taven. Great job. Of course, we're going to declare July 2026 as Parks Make Life Better Month. You know, the truth is, I feel like the Parks and Recreation Department and the programs that we have is really a strength of the city, right? And I know many people's only interactions with our city is through our parks programs and events. And so I think the department does a phenomenal job of just giving the community those great experiences and those programming. And as Jaylene and Taven said, it also is it's really strong and really foundational, right? It really contributes to your development, right, as people. And so we're seeing the results here tonight. And Jaylene, I know we know each other, and I've seen you do great work with the Unplugged program. And, so I'm a big fan of Parks and Rec, of course. And, I know we've also been really aggressive with the programming this season, right? With the Independence Day Festival, the concerts at the park, the movies at the park, the World Cup watch parties, and everything else in between. So on behalf of the City Council, just thank you for everything that the Parks and Recreation Department does. I know it's a team effort, and it's a very strong team, so thank you. And with that said, I have a proclamation to read. So, the City of Commerce proclaims July 2026 as Parks Make Life Better Month. Whereas parks, recreation facilities, aquatics programs, community centers, and open spaces enhance the health, wellness, and quality of life of residents of all ages. And whereas the City of Commerce is committed to providing high-quality parks, facilities, programs, and services that promote healthy, active, and connected communities. And whereas the City of Commerce proudly offers a wide variety of recreational opportunities through its parks, the Veterans Neighborhood Center, Senior Citizen Center, Teen Center, Camp Commerce, and the Brenda Villa Aquatic Center. And whereas recreation programs including youth sports, swim lessons, competitive athletics, fitness classes, performing arts, senior services, camps, and inclusive programming provides opportunities for learning, wellness, and community engagement. And whereas community events such as the Independence Day celebration, concerts in the park, the Spring Festival, the Harvest Festival, the Commerce 5K Turkey Trot, the community tree lighting, Earth Day, and the 2026 World Cup watch parties in our parks and facilities, and the successful introduction of Pedalpalooza added to the All Abilities Color Fun Run bring residents together and strengthen community pride. And whereas Parks and Recreation programs create opportunities for residents of all ages and abilities to build friendships, celebrate diversity, and create lasting memories. And whereas the California Parks and Recreation Society has designated July as Parks Make Life Better Month to recognize the positive impact Parks and Recreation have on communities throughout California. Now, therefore, I, Kevin Lain, as Mayor of the City of Commerce, on behalf of the City Council, do hereby proclaim July 2026 as Parks Make Life Better Month in the City of Commerce, and encourage all residents to enjoy our parks, participate in recreation programs, attend community events, and celebrate the many ways Parks and Recreation enrich our community. In witness whereof, I have hereunto set my hand and caused the seal of the City of Commerce to be affixed this 14th day of July, 2026, signed by myself, Kevin Lain, as the Mayor of the city, as well as all of my colleagues in the City Council. Thank you. Okay, so now we'll go ahead and move on to public comment. At this time, members of the public who wish to address the City Council on any agenda item or any matter not on the agenda and have submitted a speaker slip, I will call your name and please come up to the podium. You do have a time limit of 3 minutes, and I do have one speaker slip currently, so I would like to call up Lori Meeks to the podium, please.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, esteemed council. I had notes, so I gotta wing it. I forgot. Okay. And it's such a coincidence about Parks Make Life Better, since I was gonna say all this last week, but it wasn't the meeting. I'm here to tell you how great our city is with these programs, with the Parks and Rec, from our seniors to the little ones, with our senior picnic that we just recently had, And our illustrious leader had it combined with the kids' camp and the seniors, testament to more of our community. Those kids were such great kids, well-mannered, dancing, having fun. It's something that we would like to do again. And touching on the two-day party, because that's what it was, to celebrate the 4th and our 250th birthday of America was fantastic. All the stuff was fantastic. The dancing, the music, the food, the people, our neighbors, our community. We have something so special here. I grew up here. I moved away, but I came back. I got smart. And I came back. There's nowhere like here. Nowhere. I've been all over the United States. There's nowhere like here. We have to preserve this and to keep our parks in rec the best as it is, because that's the best part. When we have guests and non-residents come to these programs and they're in awe. They're in awe and they're like, you guys. I'm like, yeah, you know, like us, but yeah, it's nice if you guys can join us. No, it's fantastic, and I'm really proud to live here, be a part of this community, and for the years to come, I'm in for it. I'm in for everything that we have to do, and I'll sing our praises always. Thanks, guys, for a great, great experience for the 4th and all that. Oh, and our little parade. Wait, see, this was my notes. Camp, senior picnic, the 2-day party. Oh, crafts corner over there at camp. Oh, what? It's women's getaway. All these things. I know. Wait, the bell's gonna go off. Okay. All these things that I really, really enjoy, and not just me, everybody does, really. So keep up the great work. Thank you. Thank you. Right? Love it.
Thank you, Lori, for your comments. The next speaker is Leonard Mendoza. If you could please come up to the podium.
Good evening, Commerce City Council. This evening, I'm going to be speaking about the term limits that were passed in 2011. I have in front of me the results, which was yes on the term limits, 72.97, almost 73% of our residents, and no was only 27%. As you can see, there's a big turnout of people that supported the term limits. And the term limits was Measure A, limit the length of a time a person may serve in the Commerce City Council, to 3, and the key word here is consecutive 4-year terms. Now, this was written in support of the term limits to try to get our residents to vote, which overwhelmingly did vote to support it. Enough is enough. We cannot let the City of Commerce become the next City of Bell or the City of Vernon. Those cities have experienced embarrassing corruption that was allowed to happen by city council members who were elected over and over again and treated their cities like their own piggy banks. When the city council members are in office for many years, they are giving money by special interests who want them to see them get reelected so that they can take advantage of the city and your taxpayer dollars. These long-term career politicians are bought and paid for. They lose sight of what they really represent, the people of the City of Commerce, and use their offices for their own personal financial gain. These politicians do not have the right to stay in office forever. It is a council member, if a council member cannot get the job done after being in office for 12 years or 3 terms, then he or she needs to go. He or she does not deserve to make the position their career. This is time to give other members of our community a chance to do their civic duty and to make sure that our city is not sold to the highest bidder. Do not be fooled by those wanting to defeat Measure A. They will say anything to stay in power. Don't let them turn Commerce into another Bell or Verde. This is what I've been saying for the last couple of months. When Mr. Altamirano has considered running, even though he's turned out, he's going against the will of 70% of the residents that voted yes on term limits. Again, this is the results of the election. The comment was in the ballot. I've just been feeling like that in the last couple of years. Thank you and have a great evening.
Thank you for your comments, Mr. Mendoza. That concludes my speaker cards, so we will now close public comment. And we will now move on to the consent calendar. Does anybody on the city council wish to pull any items from consent? We have items 3 through 11. If you have no questions, I'll put forth a motion to approve the consent calendar.
Second.
Okay. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion passes. Okay, so now we will go ahead and move on to scheduled matters. And item number 12, which is a presentation from the Sheriff's Department of Public Safety in the City of Commerce. And we have our Sergeant Ozzy Cortez here tonight.
Good evening, Mayor, fellow council. This presentation is for the crime statistics in June 2025, also followed by some year-to-date from the beginning of the year to this end of fiscal, June 30th, compared to last year. For June 2026, total reported incidents were 89. Crimes against person were 7. Of those, it's 0 homicide, 0 rape, 7 felony assaults. Crimes against property, 82. The breakdown is robbery 2, burglary 5, theft 58, auto theft 16, arson 1. Of most of these crimes or all these crimes are concerning to most residents and city personnel, council included. And auto theft is a particular concern of many. Although it shows that there is still a significant number, double digit, in auto theft for the month of June, which was 16 versus 17 in May and 9 in April. Overall, year to date, compared to last year, the percentage in auto theft is down. It is 105 auto thefts year to date, which is still concerning. Even I agree, 105 year to date, compared to 183 last year, year to date, exactly this time. The difference is a 42% drop in auto theft. A couple of things that were addressed in the last 4 weeks compared to this same presentation in May is high visibility and waiting on a system called Flock to also assist the law enforcement. Next slide. This Flock safety system is a camera, AI-powered system. It's used by police departments and city public safety offices nationwide. It captures both video and still images of passing vehicles to track unique suspect vehicle details. The information is stored in a catalog for criminal prosecution and law enforcement use only in terms of investigations. For the residents and the business community members, if you witness a suspicious person and or vehicle in the immediate vicinity of a camera system trailer, phone call 911 and report this activity. Indicate to the 911 phone operator that you suspect vandalism and or tampering. This system does record 24/7 and has a cloud storage to pursue any illegal activity against it. But we want to prevent that by having not just the public safety division, the sheriff's team, but with the help of the community and the business members to help us keep these trailers that will be mobile throughout the city in good working use. Next slide, please. I do recognize too that Parks and Recs, along with many divisions in the city, put a great Independence Day celebration, both Friday and Saturday. And I want to thank, next slide. I want to thank the City of Commerce Public Safety Division and the Sheriff's team for their commitment to service and personal time sacrifice to provide the residents, city personnel, and business community a safe and memorable 250th 4th of July. The event went without incident, thank God. It was a overall success in regards to safety. There was just very minor incidents that were taken care of quickly by both Public Safety Division and the Sheriff's team. In addition, I want a special thank you to the family and friends of these uniformed officers who year after year support their duties throughout these significant holidays, weekends, and events. Thank you. Any questions?
Thank you for your presentation, Sergeant Cortez. Does the City Council have any questions or comments? Councilwoman Reboy?
Thank you for that presentation, Sarge. I have two. I would like to see, and I think, I don't recall if it has already happened, but I would like to see the numbers on a map compared to like the different cities, the different areas in the city. Most recently, we've seen an increase, or I've received numbers, a number of phone calls about the increase of like catalytic converter thefts again in the area here of Rosewood Park, but also veterans. And I would like to see, like, are these being reported? Are you guys aware of it? Again, because we know that when we see the rise in these numbers, that's when we saturate those areas. So obviously, like I always say, like, make sure you're reporting it, make sure you're reporting it. But I want to see if it's being reported and what you guys are doing in response to seeing these hotspots of crime. So if you can give us the reports by area, so we could see like where the auto thefts are happening, where the burglaries are happening. Of course, we're a business city, so we're going to see the influx in the business areas. But I still would like to see what are the areas, and if it's a matter of like, I would like to see what the deficiencies are. That's the truth, honest. I want to see where the spikes are, where are the deficiencies. Second, people have sent me this article, but I had already seen it, where Downey PD is using, they use drones to catch folks that were doing illegal fireworks. And I know we've talked about using drones in your department. I don't recall what the excuse was for you guys not to be able to use drones. I don't remember what that is. But I'm no longer asking. I am hoping and telling that I would like for you to reach out to Downey, figure out what they did, bring that back to us, and see what we can do on our end to make it happen. Because that is something that I want to see next year by 4th of July. Because we have these fines in this ordinance and it's like not even being implemented, so it's almost useless to sit here and say we're going to fine you $1,000, but we're really not enforcing it, because then the response is, well, there's no way of proving that someone is doing fireworks. By the time we get there, they're not there. So I read on this article, right, that it was very effective in Downey. So if they could do it there, we could do it here. So if you can please make sure to get that information, report it back, and see what we need to do on our end, so that next year that is something that we can do.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for that, Councilwoman. Councilman Argumedo?
Yeah. Thank you, Mayor. Sarge, thank you. Thank you for your report, and I'm very impressed with the percentage that you've highlighted, 42% drop in auto theft. Yeah, that's great. The majority of that is from what area? Is it the Citadel outlets or is it at the Commerce shopping center?
So these statistics, when I pull it, it is for the entire reporting district of Commerce. I can, further that report in regards to the specific areas as you indicate.
Okay. Yeah, if you could. I mean, usually we get a high percentage and it's usually related to those two areas. Those are problematic areas. So I just want to know, where some of these things are occurring. And I believe she was making the same request, I think so. Hopefully we get that information. But I want to commend you. I mean, that's something to be proud of, to be able to drop it by that percentage, 42%. But I'm concerned about two particular incidents that we recently had. One was at our Bandini Library. We had an individual that caused some damage to the building, and he was identified, and I believe that there was no arrest made. I don't think we did anything like that. I'd like to know why why that happened. I believe we've identified him. The damage is there of the damage that we did to the facility, and we should pick him up on some. There's definitely damage there, so I'm not following why he wasn't apprehended and arrested for the damage in the costume facility. Number two, there was an incident, I believe it was about 4 days ago, and it was posted on our Commerce page. And there was a resident here in the Rosewood Park area who came out in the middle of a theft to their vehicle, a work truck. We had tools and whatnot, and they basically ended up stealing some items. But they came out, the wife came out and took pictures. They were able to get the video, and they got the plates, the whole deal. And I was trying to get an update as to what actually happened. We had all the information. The husband actually chased the vehicle, and he was able to chase them. Wheel came off. The vehicle was going on. It was on without one wheel, it was still moving forward. And the thing is that there's so much information there for them to pick these individuals up. An individual, evidently this vehicle was not reported as stolen, so we have somebody that vehicle belongs to, and I believe it was in South Central Bay. So somehow we're not getting some of that information. At least I'm requesting it. We weren't aware of it. So there's a gap. So it's a problem. And I want to make sure that we're on top of it to find out what happened in this particular case. I know it's dangerous for our residents to do that, to kind of be pursuing individuals in situations like that. But nevertheless, they were able to provide a lot of good information, I think, that should have resulted in an arrest, which I believe now the response as well, it got turned over to the detectives. They're going to determine what to do. I mean, it seems to me a little bit kind of late, for all this time to laugh by the time you make a decision on whether to go apprehend somebody or not. These people are willing, and I know you've come here before and you've said, hey, these are the things you need to do, call it in, that the report was made, everything. They're doing all the right things, and maybe even going above and beyond that, and yet, they're getting no results. So they're pretty frustrated, they're very upset, and I don't blame them for them. I think they've gone above and beyond to try to do the right things, and they're expecting some sort of results with this. So I'm hoping that you don't have to answer now, because I know that you may or may not have the information now, but I need to get that information to each of us. We need to know what's going on. We need to know what the game plan is, and then specifically related to some of the issues that we just mentioned. In the past, we've asked for that. We've asked for decoys. I would like to see decoys deployed here in the city. I want people to think, hey, this is a potential car that I can steal or I can break into. But it's a decoy. And once we catch individuals and the word gets out, I assure you, people are not going to be second guessing, hey, is that a decoy or is that the real car? So I'd like to see more of it here in our city. What do we need to do? We've talked about it. I believe I've had this discussion with you in the past. And I want to make sure we do something here in the city. We need to deter these types of crimes. They're on the upswing, I believe. We've had a couple of individuals, whether they're coming from outside the city or if it's somebody within the city. We need to get to the bottom of it and try to get this thing addressed. There's a lot of people being affected by this. Every time somebody uses a catalytic converter, it's costing them, $2,000, maybe more, depending on the vehicle, for them to be able to get it replaced. Not to mention loss of time, work, and so on. It's a big impact to a lot of these families here in our community. So you don't have to respond now, but I do want some responses to this because we need to put a good plan together to try to address this. Okay? And some of it could be the drones that I mentioned before that we should be doing. We should be planning to deploy drones within our city. We should be able to do that. It's very easy. They're out being used for many other things throughout the world. And we certainly can utilize them here, and we shouldn't utilize them. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments, Councilman. And yes, you've talked about the drones. I think we were both at a conference and we saw the session with the Beverly Hills PD, right? And I think that was the first time we had heard about it. Sergeant, thank you for your presentation. I think my first question is, does the Sheriff's Department have that capability to deploy drones? I know when we had spoken to the sergeant at the time, it's something that was starting to be piloted, and I just never really heard where that went.
Yes, sir. I'll have the city manager maybe also address that specific topic, because there was an email sent in regards to the city as a pilot drone city. And I believe the city was to meet and to accept that pilot drone system from the Sheriff's Department to the City of Commerce.
For sure. Okay, that's great. And then, Mr. City Manager, I think a worthwhile discussion would also be what privacy policies or policies to protect people's privacy, we should look at as well, right? Because if we're going to increase our surveillance, obviously there's personal property and things that we want to be, cognizant of and make sure that that's protected as well, right? So. But that's good news. That's good to hear. I agree with my colleagues' comments, right? I think it's good to see that in the data, the crime has gone down. So that's very encouraging. And also thank you for giving us a month-to-month breakdown, which I requested for the next council meeting. So I do appreciate the work that went there. But I've heard the same things, right? Just anecdotally from residents, there's a lot of catalytic converter thefts. There's a lot of car break-ins. And I want to be sure that your department is working in tandem with our public safety team to really come up with a strategy to combat this, because, we're generally a safe city, but people do not feel safe parking their cars out on the street because we have a repeated amount of break-ins, and it's been a recurring theme, and it's something that really needs to be addressed. So I know that doesn't solely fall on the Sheriff's Department, right? But my expectation is that you will work with our public safety teams to come up with a strategy to really help mitigate this, because it's a problem. It's a problem. The other thing I'll bring up is, now that we're talking about drones and technology, we've had the automated license plate readers. And, a couple of years ago, the City Council approved that under the pretense that this was going to help reduce crime. And so we would get reports showing how many arrests have been made as a result of the ALPRs. And that's something that I would like, if you're able to do it by the next meeting. If not, let's do it in the first meeting of May. But I want to make sure that these resources that we're paying for are actually yielding some benefit, right? And they are leading to prosecutions and arrests. So if we could take a look at that as well, I think that's a data point that would be good for us to have. But, I do appreciate the work that you and the team are doing. I know it's not an easy job, right? And I certainly appreciate the presence that you have in the community. I do notice the patrols. I do see you at our Parks and Recreation events and city events. And so just know that doesn't go unnoticed, and I appreciate you. Thank you for your presentation, and have a great night.
Thank you, Mayor.
Okay, so I messed up. Right? So we did this whole Parks Make Life Better proclamation, and I read a whole thing. but I never did a presentation. And I see Anthony put on a sport coat. You know, Alan's out here with his press shirt. So if the Parks and Recreation team could do me the honor of coming up and taking a picture with us with the proclamation, I'd really appreciate that. Let's give them a round of applause, please, for whoever's left. Come on down. Veronica was staring daggers at me. Oh man, dude. See that. You're gonna hold the brakes on it. Good, Tatum, great job there. Great job there.
Where's Patty?
Is the frame upside down?
We can't see you guys.
All right, and now just the Parks Department and the presenters. Thank you. Thank you. You can go home now. Okay, like that for the cleaners. I think I have someone that already did this.
Oh, there's more. And then. It's protection.
Good to see you, Sally.
Love you guys.
Okay, thank you. And now back to our regularly scheduled programming. So we will now move on to item number 13, which is the approval of funding for the temporary volleyball basketball structure at Bristow Park. And I believe that will be presented today by Director Shahid Abbas.
Thank you, Mayor and the Council. My name is Shahid Abbas, Director of Public Works. So though I'm going to present on the temporary structure which is going in the Bristol Park. The redevelopment of Veterans Park recreational facility required relocation of several parks and recreation programs, including crush, volleyball, and preschool graduation. Subsequently, council directed staff to find a temporary location so these programs can be continued while Veteran Park is rebuilt. Staff reviewed multiple locations, and finally council selected Bristol Park as the preferred location for this temporary structure. The proposed structure is about 160 feet by 120 feet in size and can house 2 volleyball courts while preserving the functionality of the existing basketball courts in Bristol Park. Keeping the basketball courts at Bristol Park running is important as it protects ongoing practices, league games, tournaments, and community programs from interruptions. Then go to the next slide. The next one, please. The total anticipated cost of the structure is at $2.91 million, which is recommended to be funded from Mayor PC revenue. The next one, please. Staff recommends appropriating $2.91 million from Mayor PC fund to cover the total cost of the project. And that concludes my brief presentation. And should you have any question, I'll be more than happy to answer.
Thank you, Director Abbas, for the presentation. Does the City Council have any questions or comments? Councilman?
Just a quick question. It will accommodate both, you've indicated already, basketball and volleyball. Are we able to utilize it for other, in other words, kind of like one of these multi-use facilities, whether it's pickleball, whether it's anything else that we may be able to use that facility? Does it lend itself to be able to use?
There are no prohibitions. The way that it's going to be set up, essentially, it's going to be like a outdoor covered gym. So it'll be exactly like a current gym where with the guards you can stripe it for pickleball or any other activity that fits within the boundaries of the facility. But there's no restriction.
Okay, I mean, I just want to make sure, obviously we take care of 2 sports programs, but I also, I want us to make sure that we have the versatility to be able to use it for other things that may become necessary.
So what's good about tonight is you still, it's in the design phase, right? It's already been designed, but certainly we can make any recommendations to the contractor that's going to be constructing it. So things like this, we can for sure let the person know that this is one of the asks of the City Council that needs to be a part of this process. We are paying the majority of this, so it should be exactly what you want.
Okay, I just want us to make sure that we're fully taking advantage of it so that we can accommodate as many of our programming that we have within Parks and Recreation. A lot of times you've got rain and cold, and right now the heat wave that we're going through, so that we can actually utilize it for a multitude of sports programming that we have. So,
this is quite a flexible structure. The size can accommodate any of our ongoing programs.
All right. What about the spectators? We get a lot of parents that show up to watch a game.
Yeah, there's
basketball. There is room for bleachers and also the games, the volleyball games. You get a lot of parents that go to those games as well.
So there is a bleachers included. Can we go to the first slide? Yeah, there's the bleachers in the blue shows there.
Okay, all right, I just want to make sure about that. Initially, I was, under the impression that there wasn't going to be much room for that, so good, and I'm glad that that is being accommodated. All right, great.
Supposed to give me that.
I don't think I have any more questions other than that. Thank you.
Okay, thank you for your questions, Councilwoman Rebollo.
I'm just really happy that we're doing this. I want to make sure that it's built yesterday. I think that the crush program has been very patient. And if we're going to do any of the suggested like striping or whatnot, I don't want it to delay the project. I want to make sure that we're moving. Like I said, they've been very patient with us, and we want to see this move quickly. So I do agree that we want it to serve many purposes. I just don't want it to delay the time frame. Thank you.
Thank you for that, Councilwoman. Any other comments? Director Abbas, thank you for your presentation. I was also under the impression that we weren't going to have enough room for bleachers, so I'm actually very, very happy to see this because I think the seating is important. I also envision it as kind of like a general indoor space, right, where we could have our preschool graduations, right, like we did at the Veterans Park. To be clear, the striping, right, that is going to be painted on this will be for volleyball and basketball.
The striping we can swap the striping at any time we like, but it will come with the striping as design is for the volleyball, but we can always stripe is for the basketball and the pickle court also.
When you say swap the striping,
We have to-
walk me through that process.
Means we have to restripe it. You know.
So let's think about that, right? Because we're talking about a temporary volleyball and basketball structure, right? And so, you know, we're taking away 2 basketball courts from Briscoe Park, right? And we have the games out there, so I think the striping.
So it's a common practice to stripe it for both purposes, right? They use different colors and different, and when you put up the facility, I don't know what you call it, but the hardware, it would define the usage. So that was the intention because it's replacing volleyball and basketball.
Yeah, and that's how Veterans Park was. The gym was striped that way.
Yeah.
Where the different colors meant one color for volleyball, one color for basketball, and it could be another color for pickleball.
It's common.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know it's common. I just want to make sure that that's a part of the plan. And if it's only striped for one, I mean, Director Marquez, you know, just because you're here, could our staff do it so that we have striping for both basketball and volleyball?
Correct. Director of Parks and Recreation, Adolfo Marquez. We have with us our sports supervisor, Alan, with us this evening. He worked on this project, and I'd like him to answer that question.
Okay.
If that's
Thank you.
okay.
Hi, good evening, Mayor and Council. My name's Alan Navarro, Sports Supervisor. So what was the question again, if you could repeat it?
So, you know, is the plan to have, once we go live, are we going to stripe for both? Are we going to be striped for both volleyball and basketball, or just volleyball? And if so, is our staff able to handle the striping for basketball?
Yes, we're going to request it to be striped for basketball to accommodate our rec programs and also volleyball.
Okay,
and
so
I'm pretty sure we're going to include pickleball as well since it's getting so popular now within our city.
Okay, so it will be striped for those 3.
Correct.
Okay. Okay. That's great. I'll echo my colleague's sentiments here. I know the Crush had a little bit of a challenging season, right? I know we've all heard about it with the changes in venue, and I think it's something that Anthony, you acknowledged as well at the banquet, right, last week. And I know when we talked about it last week at the banquet, parents are really looking forward to this facility. So, and now that funding is being considered, say this does go through, if approved, what is the next step?
The next step is this is a partnership with a private developer, and essentially this was the final step for them to move forward with the construction folks that they're doing. Once we've approved the design, which is what you're doing tonight, with any modifications, he gets the green light to essentially coordinate the construction. He is supposed to provide me, which I will provide to you once I have it. I don't have it yet, an anticipated timeline of the construction, so as soon as I get that, but he's already working with the construction company. It's part of his overall development. And so as soon as I have a timeline, I'll provide it to the City Council.
Okay, much appreciated. Yeah, I don't want this to be one of those projects that moves laterally and then goes forward a little and then goes a little lateral and then goes. I want to know when we can start and when we will have this finished. So that's something that I really want to drive home to you, Mr. City Manager, and of course to Comstock as well, since they're going to be handling this. But like you said, Councilwoman, we need this yesterday, right? So it is a big priority for the council. So if there are no other questions at this time or feedback, I will entertain a motion.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, so we have a motion by Councilwoman Rebollo to approve the design as recommended by staff and a second by Councilman Argumedo. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion passes. Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you, Madam Council.
Okay, so now we'll go ahead and move on to item number 14, which is the Art in Public Places Program, Rosewood Park and 250 Years Recognition Plaque. and that will be presented by Senior Management Analyst Giselle Delgado.
Hello, good evening, Mayor and council members. I'm here to present the Art in Public Places program, Rosewood Park, and the 250-year recognition plaque, and I have a presentation tonight. If you can move to the next slide. We're reviewing proposed artwork. The first item here is for mosaic art pieces to be located at the top of the hill at Rosewood Park. The material costs are within the approved fiscal year 2026 and 2027 budget. And we have, if you move to the next slide, we have the mock-ups of the concept of the mosaic art pieces. There are approximately 4 on each side. Next. And this is the current condition of what they look like now. The next item would be to review, consider, and approve a 250-year recognition plaque for the United States at Rosewood for 2,600, and the plaque sizes would be 18 inches by 24 for a bronze and 18 inches by 30.5 for aluminum color. The material costs are within approved fiscal year 2026-2027 budget, and they read, commemorating 250 years of the signing of the Declaration of Independence, honoring our nation's history, freedom, and enduring spirit, 1776 through 2026, City of Commerce, and it reads all of the council members and the mayor's name below, as well as the city manager's name, and same as in the color version.
Can you go back to the previous slide? The other one. There you go. So the staff visited the site, and originally we were proposing to put the plaque, whatever chosen plaque is, on the side of one of the pillars, but now we're thinking it would be essentially catty corner facing the BVAC Center on an individual pole, kind of really highlighting it and putting it up high enough so folks can see it. But if the council wouldn't want it on the pillar, we can certainly do that.
Okay, if you could go back.
Can you go back to the, there you go. It's city council discretion, but looking at it, we thought that more folks should be able to see it on a pole or on a concrete pillar like we did in some of the other monuments, separate from the pillars.
Not to mention that it would give more real estate to the art, right? If we're talking 24 by 18, I think, it would take away from it. It makes sense.
So the staff report includes 2 renderings of what the plaque could look like. The United States of America blue one is similar to the Purple Heart plaque that we did with color and that, and the other one was a more traditional look. Certainly the City Council wanted to move a different direction to provide direction to staff.
I also wanted to note too that on the staff report, it has not the earliest version, but the latest version would be the one on the presentation. So we can go back to the last slide. Thank you. And so tonight's recommendation would be for the City Council. The City Council is requested to review, consider, and approve the proposal, the art proposal at Rosewood Park, and second, to review, consider, and approve a 250-year recognition plaque for the United States at Rosewood for 2,600. So, thank you. If you have any questions, please let me know.
Thank you for your presentation, Ms. Delgado. Does the City Council have any questions or comments? Councilwoman Derboy?
For the art, the mosaic art, we've already approved that funding? We're just approving the art? Yes?
So I think one thing that one thing to note is that we plan on doing it as staff, right? So we're not contracting.
Oh, okay.
And so I think the only cost that we would incur are material, which we're estimating to be less than $1,000. Could you just be honest there?
I'm talking about the mosaic. Is that what we're talking about?
We're talking about
Okay.
the obelisks, right? The different pillars.
Okay, yeah.
What we are asking for funding for is the plaque.
Got it. Okay. Thank you.
That's correct, yes. It would be, staff would implement the mosaic.
Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you for that, Councilwoman. Mayor Pro Tem Garcia?
Okay, so are we approving two separate things, the plaque and the artwork?
That's correct. Tonight, you're approving the art that would be installed at the 4 pillars at Rosewood Park, as well as the choosing one of the two plaques, either the colored or the bronze.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you for your questions. Any other questions, comments?
There's no comments. I would move to approve the recommendation as presented.
I would just like to reserve the right to workshop the language on the plaque a little bit more, just so it coalesces with the artwork a little more. Because I think the artwork is very community focused, right? People playing at the park. And so if the council is okay with it, maybe workshopping it a little bit, but still celebrating 250 years of just making the language a little bit more community focused. I think generally the design is there, but I think
the language focuses on the birthday for the country. You could basically make it community-based language, about the celebration of Parks and Rec programs in the city and the country's birthday.
Yeah, it's still honoring the milestone. That's all. I just think it meshes better with if we do that with the artwork. So.
I have a comment.
It's going to be in that same area?
Correct. So we have a motion on the floor by Councilman Argumedo. We have a second by Councilwoman Rebollo. Mayor Pro Tem, before I put it up to a vote, do you have a question?
And a comment.
Comment.
So I feel that, I think the artwork is beautiful, but I believe that I would like to see each branch of the military up there, because we have the flagpole up there already. And then along with our plaque, that would look beautiful. So for me, would you roll call?
Yeah, so we have a motion on the floor, and
she can make an actual motion.
We're in a second.
No, I didn't do it.
Okay, so we'll just
Sorry.
put it up to a vote.
No.
So, Madam Interim City Clerk, if you could do a roll call, please.
Yes, sir.
And for clarification, we're voting on the motion on the floor.
Yes,
And the
Yes.
second.
correct.
As presented with reserving the right to read
The wording.
with it. Councilmember Argumedo,
Yes.
Councilmember Rebollo,
Yes, for both. Right, both motions, yes?
There's only
One motion, staff recommendation.
That was your
But the original motion is what's presented, so let's clarify what
So,
we're voting on.
to be clear, the motion on the floor is to approve the recommendations that staff has put together in the staff report.
Correct.
The only caveat is that we may alter the language of the plaque somewhat, still preserving the milestone of 250.
Right, okay, all right, yeah.
And maybe just so that everybody can be happy, maybe just discussing, maybe putting the plaque somewhere else. Would that work? If it doesn't mesh with the.
No, I think we let the motion stand as is.
Mesh with that one.
Yeah,
Got it.
and there's a way to do it. I'm not talking about an overhaul, I'm just talking about a modification.
Okay, well, that's nice.
Mayor Pro Tem Garcia.
Okay, so I know it's together, but I'm yes with the plaque and no with the artwork, because I believe that the military should be up there with their branch. Each branch should show because of the flag, so.
The motion has to be no, correct, people of council, but it's motions together.
Correct. The way it's being presented right now, there's one motion. And so
So you just have to.
I think you would be a no and explain your no.
So my
Or
no-
you could have,
Abstain, or
you can abstain, sure.
what else did you say?
Can I interject for a second?
Sure.
I believe we had some discussion related to this subject matter. You brought an item before us, and I think at that time we discussed the more appropriate location for that, and we were going to look at different pieces of different areas, different cities, what they've done with regards to that. I think we should just bring that back and look at that, and let's, if we want to get one or two members of the city council to be part of that. That would be great. And then let's bring something that we can all say, hey, this looks great, let's do it here, whether it's at Veterans Park, it's a ways out, but we can bring it here or maybe somewhere nearby. But yeah, that was part of the discussion that we had in the previous meeting, and I think we should revisit that. Let's address that, come up with something that we can all say, you know what, this would be the right thing to do and the right design, all of it.
Okay.
If you don't mind, trying
No,
to.
that's fine.
Yeah.
Okay, so my vote is a yes.
Thank you.
And thank you, Councilman. I think that's a fair approach. My vote is a yes as well. So,
Motion carries
Motion
for
passes.
ayes.
Thank you.
thank you, Giselle. Okay, so now we'll go ahead and move on to public hearings. And we have item 15, which is consideration to adopt a resolution amending the fiscal year 2026-2027 Community Development Block Grant Program to the Commerce Advantage Program. However, I will continue this item to the next meeting. Procedurally, is there anything I need to do other than continue? Continue it? Okay.
Yeah, so this item has a public hearing, so if we want to preserve the public hearing, I would say open the public hearing, keep it open, and continue the item to a date certain.
Okay, so I'll do that. So at this time, I'll open the public hearing. Do we have any public comments related to this item?
None.
Okay, at this time, I'll close the public hearing, and we'll continue this.
Honorable Mayor, leave it open and continue the item.
Okay, we'll leave it open, and we'll continue the item to the next meeting. Thank you. Okay, great. Now we'll go ahead and move on to item number 16, which is an approval of an energy services contract with Seismico Energy Solutions for citywide facility energy efficiency and solar photovoltaic installation at the Teen Center pursuant to California Government Code Section 4217. I believe this will be presented by Public Works Director Shahid Abbas.
Yeah, can we go to the next slide? Again, good evening, Mayor and the Council. My name is Shahid Abbas, Director of Public Works. Today, I'm going to make a brief presentation on the Design Build Energy Service and Conservation Project. The project involves conversion of our existing building, 7 structure into LEDs. So we have 1,945 existing CFL lighting fixtures, which will be replaced with LEDs at 7 city building facilities, which is Aquatic Center, City Hall, Senior Center, Camp Commerce, Teen Center, EOC, associated with the EOC's electric buildings. And the Teen Center will also house a solar panel. The size system of the solar system will be 17.3 kilowatt. Next slide, please. The projected energy savings from this project are as shown on the slides. We anticipate to save about 244,795 kilowatt hours of electricity per year, which amounts to $61,126 in the electric saving from our existing electric consumptions, which will, and another $23,268 from the operational and maintenance. The total savings projected are $84,394. Next, please. The contract price, as stipulated in the agreement, is $1.8 million. With the federal tax credits, the cost will be offset to $1.6 million. And cumulative saving from our investment will be $84,000. And that means we will realize the savings for the total project cost is $2.2 million, and we will realize the savings over 30 years of our investment. The next one, please. This slide shows the total construction cost of the project. The contracted cost is at $1.8 million approximately, and the total cost with the contingencies and the project management comes to $2.272 million, which are proposed to be funded from Mayor PC revenue. Mayor PC revenues has already been committed towards a temporary volleyball structure at Bistro Park project. Paying for both projects results in a temporary cash shortfall until more tax revenue is collected. Next one, please. These are the few cost considerations. Projected savings and project costs are dependent on future assumptions and conditions which may not be granted. Financial analysis assumes the availability and receipt of certain tax credits, rebates, and other incentives which may or may not be available in the future. Project cost includes numerous assumptions, exclusions, and responsibility that could result in additional project costs beyond the initial contract amount, which may include permitting requirement, utilities, electrical upgrades, ADA compliance, hazardous materials, and any other unforeseen site conditions. The contractor will perform a post-award field verification that may result in revisions to the project scope, contract price, or projected savings if existing conditions differ from those assumed during the project development phase. Any additional cost would require identification of an appropriate funding source and approvals required under the city purchasing policies and budget requirements. And finally, staff recommends appropriating funding in the amount of $2.272 million from Mayor PC Fund to cover the total cost of the project. That concludes my presentation. If the council have any questions, I'll be more than happy to answer.
Okay, thank you for your presentation, Director Abbas. Does the City Council have any questions or comments? And I do believe we have a representative from Sizerco here tonight, correct? So I do have a couple of questions. Maybe you could field it, Shahid, but with this project right here, we're talking about solar panels at the teen center and then obviously the LED lighting upgrades across the different facilities that you talked about. Could you talk a little bit about the project labor agreement that the contractor has with labor? I think that's where he'll come in and answer those questions.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. All of the work that will be performed under the scope of this particular proposal is electrical in nature. All of the work will be performed by IBEW signatory contractors. And the work for the solar must be performed not only, it must be performed by a contractor that has a workforce development apprenticeship program in order to qualify the city for the federal investment tax credit.
Okay. And is that workforce agreement with IBEW Local 11?
Correct, yes.
Okay. Great. And in talking about this project, I know that there are Local 11 members that live here in the City of Commerce, and I just want to make sure that they're prioritized to get hired for this project. That's the first thing. And then the second thing is, I know there were some discussions about holding a job fair at the training center here in Commerce for our people here in Commerce to learn more about the apprenticeship program, potentially even some of the members of the teen center to just learn a little bit more. Could we make sure that that's listed in the contract as a thing that we're going to do?
I'd be happy to include that, yes, sir.
So just to note for the City Council, so the staff report recommends that the City Council authorize myself to work with City Attorney to finalize the agreement to include stipulations like those, in addition to really define some of the costing. There's still some outstanding costing issues that are will be defined, but that tonight staff recommendation is to authorize City Manager and City Attorney to finalize the actual agreement. And so we could still incorporate all of these things that you are asking for.
Okay, great, thank you.
And if I may add, that's the way that's the way it's recommended and listed as part of the staff report, the recommendation.
For sure, thank you. And I know the report notes that a post-award field verification could change the scope and the cost, so I saw that, and that's standard, I could get that, but If there is a change to the scope and the cost, like what authority does the city manager have to approve those changes before returning them to council? I just want to make sure that if there's a major change in scope, we're looking at that.
So long as it doesn't exceed the approved amount, I wouldn't have to come back to council.
Okay, fair enough. And will any city facilities need to close during the installation?
That I don't know.
Okay. I know the work will be done between 7 a.m. and 3:30, I think is what I saw in the contract, so I just want to make sure.
Well, standard work hours are 7 a.m. to 3:30. However, the lighting is scheduled to take place off hours in occupied spaces.
Okay.
So those would be third shift.
Great. Okay, those are my questions. You know, I think it's a good project. I think the solar panels in particular at the teen center. I think the city council has been doing a lot over the last years with regards to sustainability and just good like green building practices. And I think this is a step towards that mission. And I think part of this is also having a monitor at the teen center that shows how much energy we're saving, right? So the youth at the teen center can kind of see dynamically like how much is being saved as a function of the solar panels there. So I think it's good. So this time, I'll go ahead and make a motion to approve this item for staff's recommendation.
Second. Public hearing, it's public.
Oh, that's right. And this is a public hearing, so I will now open the public hearing. Do we have any public comments regarding this item?
None.
None? Okay, I will now close the public hearing. And so I will go ahead and make the motion to approve this item as recommended by staff report.
I'll second it.
Okay, we have a second by Councilman Argumedo. Let's do a roll call vote.
Yes, sir. Councilmember Argumedo?
Yes.
Councilmember Rebollo?
Yes?
Mayor Pro Tem Garcia?
Yes.
Mayor Lainez?
Yes. Okay.
Motion passes 4 ayes.
Perfect, thank you. All right. Thank you for the presentation and thank you for coming today.
Thank you, Mayor and Council.
Okay, so now we will go ahead and move on to city council reports. And I will start to my left with Councilwoman Rebollo.
Okay. I just want to thank Parks and Recreation for 2 days of a good time. I've actually been recovering. I've had some health issues and I didn't know if I was going to be able to make it. And even though I was struggling a little bit, I'm happy that I came out and we had a good time. It's just really nice to see the community and to see like people that have moved out. They always come back for 4th of July, and I get to see like kids grown up, and you know what happens within a whole year when you know they come back for these events. So it's just really nice. I think Parks and Rec, you've really outdone yourself. You know, people always say like, oh, you always say that, they're your favorite. It's you know, I mean, obviously, we see the bulk of the program there, and it's not about favorites. It's just about, you know, when we see the community come out to enjoy these events, it's like numbers and numbers. It makes my heart, like I get like gushy about it, right? Because it makes my heart so happy. It makes my mom come out and she actually enjoys it. And so to me, like that's representative of our senior community. And then you know, and just at those events, I get to see all the seniors that come out to enjoy it, and they all hang out together and they're dancing and having a good old time. So congratulations and thank you, Parks and Rec, for always just thinking outside of the box and bringing something new, something different every single time. With that, the FIFA games, another thing, right? Like, I don't know how many members of the community just told us thank you, that we were able to watch these soccer games safe in our parks. Some of them, you know, I was able to walk to the park to watch the game. Again, you know, I got my mom out, which is insane, right? She doesn't, I don't get my like social butterfly trait from her. She likes to be inside her cave, and she actually was out. And one of the days where I really was not feeling well, I seen that she was really bummed that she wasn't gonna be able to go. So there I was, I'm like, okay, let's go. Like, I'm just gonna struggle, but let's go, right? Because she wanted to be out. And I just wanna thank Parks and Rec because I'm getting to see a different side of my mom now. attending these events. She even now started attending the art class at the senior center. And I'm like looking at her like, who is this lady? And it's just wonderful because I get to see a different side of my mom that I hadn't seen in a really long time. And it's all because Parks and Rec. So I thank you, and I use her as the model to other moms and dads, right, that are coming out to enjoy these cultural events, like cultural meaning like soccer, going to see Mexico play and the USA play, and cultural in the sense of celebrating the United States because we're Americans too. And it brings just something different to my heart. So thank you, Parks and Recreation. You completely outdid yourself. And to the staff that was throwing the mini rave, my goodness. I wish I was able to go on that stage. I was like, I want to go up on that stage and rave with them. The energy was just insane. So thank you to all of the Parks and Rec staff that was up on that stage dancing, hyping up the community. It was, again, members of the community were calling me about how much fun they had. And I really thought we were going to get so many phone calls about why don't we have fireworks on 4th of July? But they were really happy with the mini rave, and it was just so much fun. So again, thank you, Parks and Recreation. To the family of Miss Sandy Cornejo, my most sincerest condolences. And just remind the community that life is short, and embrace your family. Tell them you love them. Pray for each other. That's something that we, very seldomly forget to do, is pray for your neighbors, pray for the ones you love, and pray for the ones that you don't. Because the Bible calls us to pray for our enemies as well. So that is our biggest test. So with that, I thank you, and I want to thank Miss Lori Meeks, who came to talk a little bit about the senior picnic that was just held. Somebody showed me a post on social media, kind of just putting out misinformation about that event being put on by the mayor and myself, and giving out freebies from vendors, and like that. I wish I could take the credit for that event, because Ms. Meeks came in to say it was such a wonderful event. But no, it wasn't our event. But when I do have events, I'll make sure that I'll post it so that everybody's invited to come. Unfortunately, the person that posted it has me blocked, so there was no way of me seeing the post. So somebody might want to tell them, like Social Media 101, that if you block me, I can't really read what you're saying. But just to clear up the misinformation, no, it wasn't put on by me. Parks and Recreation, thank you. There were seniors that were talking to me about it, saying how wonderful it was to have day camp there. And what a great idea. Kudos to the Senior Center Supervisor, Veronica Jimenez, for having this wonderful idea of bringing those two generations together. And I really, really hope this is the start of something beautiful like this, historically, a tradition in the future. It is proven research that seniors, when you bring their grandchildren along, or that generation, it just really does something for them. So I hope that this is the start of a new tradition. So congratulations to the Senior Center. That is all. God bless everybody, and please take care of each other. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments, Councilwoman. And my youngest is a day camper, and he said he really liked his burger. So. Okay, Councilman Argumedo.
I'll try to keep it short. Definitely, Parks and Recreation takes the cake there. Great job, outstanding. Everybody in attendance really just everybody to talk to really enjoyed the full event. Yeah, some people asked about the no fireworks on the 4th, but once you explain it to people, they get it, and it was pretty easy. People were very, very good. We didn't get any of that. At least I didn't. I think it was very positive. Most of the comments I received from anybody, and everybody enjoyed it. So Adolfo and all of the staff involved, including all the public works and everybody else involved in putting that together, including transportation, getting people there and that. Great job, great event. I think it's probably one of our best events that we've had for the July. So great party, and got nothing but good things to say. So thank you. And also I attended the awards banquet, the Crush Volleyball Banquet, and great event. I thought you guys did a great job putting that together. Anthony, I think, is still here, but good job as usual. And all of the coaches, all of their comments related to each of their respective teams were, I think, well received by all of the parents in attendance. Overall, it was a great event. So thank you all. My granddaughter's part of the Crush team, so she was there and she enjoyed it. She had to leave though because she's got family. My daughter has family from the other side. It's visiting from El Paso, so they had to head out and go to their home. And let's see. Thoroughly enjoyed the watch parties. That was great. Great idea. Obviously, the turnout for the Mexico game was a lot bigger than the USA. I was like, wow, I'm expecting the same thing. I don't know if it was the venue, the location, or what the change was there, but we had what seemed like a smaller turnout, but I think it was because the rest of the community was spread out throughout the park. We were trying to get into the shaded areas. I think that's what it was, but it was a good turnout. It just seemed a little bit smaller. But overall, it was just unfortunate that both of our teams got eliminated. I'm looking forward to the rest of the games, and hey, maybe we can have a watch party for the final. Maybe we can put something together for that. It looks like it'll be Spain, and we got a game tomorrow with Argentina and England. So we'll determine who will be going for the cup this year. So. But it's been really exciting. I hadn't really followed it a lot, a little bit here and there, but I don't know. I found myself just tuned to the TV, wanting to know, hey, who's been eliminated and whatnot. And sometimes at night, I'm actually catching up on some of the game. Today's game was really exciting. I was surprised. I thought it was going to be I thought it was going to be France that was going to come out on top. But anyways, bottom line is that I was surprised. But Spain, wow, these guys are really, really, I don't know, it looks like a very, very good team. So we'll see what happens. I'm looking forward to it. Very exciting. And I think that was it. I want to thank you, Mayor, once again for the recognition that we bestowed upon our former Parks and Recreation Commissioner. Well deserved, and I appreciate your support and naming of the dining area, the senior center. Thank you, all of you. Appreciate that. I think it's good to recognize those that have contributed so much to what this city is today. So, and for sure, the Cornells and family is doing a lot in this community. So, thank you. That concludes my report. My condolences to them, of course. I've already expressed some of that to them. And hopefully the rest of the community will have an opportunity to attend the services. I don't have the dates readily available, but I did post them on Facebook. We've been sending out messages. And I'm sure that hopefully we can get some of that information out to our senior center to make sure that a lot of the folks over there have that information so that those that want to attend their services can do so. So again, thank you, and appreciate all of you very much. Thank you.
Great, Dan. Thank you for your comments, Councilman. Mayor Pro Tem Garcia.
Thank you. I have a general statement and a question for you, City Manager. I will start off with my statement. I want to talk a little bit about social services and the work that they do. They restore dignity by providing counseling. They remind people that they matter. They break vicious cycles. They offer the tools for childcare for the elderly. They save lives when a family are struck by unexpected tragedy. In 2003, the city declared a community emergency following a major train derailment that damaged numerous properties and left many residents displaced. During this crisis, social services served as a vital liaison between the affected residents and the railroad company. They worked tireless hours advocating for the community, providing essential crisis management, counseling, translation services. Social services do not look away, they step in. They build a bridge from despair to hope, help families with food, behavioral issues, wellness, mental health, rent assistance, and homelessness. They have been trained by the top directors, Robert Chavez and Lorena Gutierrez. The social services team continue to implement the same training framework to ensure consistent, high-quality outcomes. They are the safety net, catching people before they hit the ground. And wow, and how quickly we forget that this department has taken some youth under their wing and pushed them in the right direction by helping some residents go from juvenile hall to City Hall. My question to you, City Manager, is when will this item was pulled by the budget? I would like to know when we can discuss this further.
Mayor Pro Tem and members of City Council, so the item was not approved and would be brought back when the city considers any adjustments to the salary schedule. It may be brought back. It's really City Council discretion, but so it was part of an overall budget presentation that was not approved. And so the direction was that it may be reconsidered when we come back with an approval or the amendment to the salary schedule.
Is that for next budget? Is that what?
No, it's upcoming. We are making changes that are necessary to the salary schedule, so it's upcoming. It just wasn't ready for this meeting.
Okay, thank you for that. Also, I have a request for the next meeting. Can we put the crosswalks on the agenda? It would be nice to do it as soon as possible before the kids go back to school, simply because all safety and budgetary municipal case study data was fully vetted and approved in 2025. The singular action required in this final selection is the design. And that's it, just a design. Can we move forward with this? Can we put this on the next agenda, please? And lastly, my condolences to the Cornejo family. Can we also adjourn with the passing of Renee Lara, longtime resident and a good friend of ours? Thank you.
Thank you for your report, Mayor Pro Tem. I'll keep mine brief. I attended the Independence Day Festival on July 3rd and 4th, and I think my colleagues captured it well. It was just a phenomenal weekend. Such a great party, right? The fireworks celebration was great, and then of course the laser light show. I mean, I think somebody did the worm on stage, right? So I know staff had a great time, but I think it was really well enjoyed by the community. Right, I think the laser light show really gave people of all ages an opportunity to really just engage, right, and dance and sing, and it was a lot more interactive than a fireworks show would be, right? So I think it was definitely a nice touch to have that as part of the celebration, and with the World Cup watch parties as well. I mean, I think it's really appropriate to call July Parks Make Life Better Month, because I gotta tell you, starting from July 1st through the 6th, I think 5 of those days we had events at the park, right? We had the U.S. watch party, and then we had a break, and then we had the Independence Day Festival that went on for 2 days, and then we had the game with Mexico and England, and then the U.S. and Belgium at Bristow Park. And so I really want to thank staff for the endurance, right? And just being able to see all of those events through. It was really an aggressive weekend, and it was great, right? And so Parks and Rec, you guys did a phenomenal job, but I also want to thank Public Works, and I also want to thank Transportation, right? Because we had shuttles running, right? And so that was, something that was really important. And on the Public Works side, we have to make sure that our parks are clean, they were beautiful, and I thought the team did a great job in doing that, making sure that we had a safe and clean space to really celebrate the 4th of July holiday. So thank you to everybody who involved there. As my colleague mentioned, I also attended the Commerce Crush banquet. So congratulations to the young ladies on a phenomenal season. And I know they're looking forward to the new facility that we just approved the funding for. So I know that's something that's sorely needed, and they're really looking forward to it. So, I'm happy to be able to say that we were able to deliver that today. And then on Sunday, we attended the Ballet Folklorico Banquet here at the Senior Center, and they put on a series of performances, and those kids are just so talented. They do such a great job with the performances. Their costumes are great. Their dances are great. And I really want to commend Ariana, right, Cervantes Lopez, for the job that she's done with that program. You know, coming back from COVID, that's a program that's really grown here in our city. Right? And so I just see the development that these kids have gone through, from the last couple of years to where they are today, and it's really great to see. So congratulations on the performers on a great season. We will absolutely adjourn tonight's meeting in honor and memory of Renee Lara, as you requested. But I also want to make sure that we adjourn tonight's meeting in memory of Mrs. Sandy Cornejo. My deepest condolences to their family. It's a tremendous loss to the community. Sandy was a matriarch of commerce who loved her community and touched the lives of many people. And I think we saw that here this evening. And she is a commerce icon who will be dearly missed, and commerce is worse off without her. So with that said, meeting adjourned.